The camera fades in, and you're standing in the gleaming lobby of a high-end hotel in downtown Atlanta. Marble floors reflect the soft glow of chandeliers, and the air hums with the quiet confidence of wealth. People in tailored suits and designer dresses glide past, their voices low, their steps purposeful. But then you notice him, a man standing at the check-in counter dressed in a simple navy jacket and jeans. His name is Marcus Grant, a black man in his late 30s with a calm demeanor and a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. He's trying to check in, but something's wrong. The receptionist, a woman with a tight smile and a name tag reading Karen, is shaking her head. Her voice carries just enough for you to hear. "I'm sorry, sir, but we don't have any reservations under that name," she says, her tone clipped, her eyes barely meeting his. Marcus stays composed, pulling out his phone to show her the confirmation email. "I booked this room weeks ago. Here's the proof." He says, his voice steady but firm. Karen barely glances at the screen before pushing it back. "That could be anyone's email. We're fully booked. You'll have to leave. You feel it, don't you?" That slow burn in your chest, the way her words land like a slap, dismissing him without a second thought. Marcus doesn't raise his voice, doesn't flinch, but you can see the weight of her words settling into his shoulders. He tries again, explaining he's traveled 12 hours to get here for an important meeting, but Karen's already signaling to a security guard, a burly guy named Preston, who's standing nearby, arms crossed, watching Marcus like he's a threat. The lobby, once warm and inviting, now feels cold. You notice other guests glancing over, some whispering, others pretending not to see. Marcus notices too, but he doesn't back down. "Ma'am, I have a right to my room," he says, his voice still calm but now carrying an edge like a blade wrapped in velvet. Karen rolls her eyes, and that's when it escalates. "Sir, if you don't leave, I'll have to call the police." She snaps, her voice loud enough to turn heads. Preston steps forward, his hand resting on his radio, his eyes narrowing. "Let's go, buddy. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." You're watching this unfold, and it's hard to stay calm. This isn't just about a hotel room anymore. It's about the way Marcus is being treated, like he doesn't belong, like his presence is an inconvenience. You've seen this before, haven't you? The way someone's skin color becomes a reason to question their worth, their place, their very existence in a space like this. It's not just unfair, it's wrong, bone-deep wrong. But there's something about Marcus. He's not rattled, not really. There's a quiet strength in the way he stands, the way his eyes lock onto Karen's, then Preston's, like he's sizing them up not out of fear but out of certainty. You catch a glimpse of something, a sleek business card tucked into his jacket pocket, a subtle glint of a watch that looks far too expensive for his casual outfit. It's a fleeting moment, but it plants a seed of doubt. Who is this guy? Why isn't he backing down? The tension builds. Preston grabs Marcus's arm, not hard, but enough to make a point. "Time to go," he growls. Marcus pulls his arm free, his voice low but commanding. "Take your hands off me." The lobby goes quiet. Even Karen looks startled, like she didn't expect resistance. The other guests are openly staring now, some pulling out their phones recording. You want to step in to say something, but you're glued to the scene waiting for what comes next. Karen doubles down. "This is a private establishment, and we reserve the right to refuse service. You're causing a disturbance." Her words drip with condescension, each syllable a reminder of who she thinks holds the power here. Marcus doesn't respond right away. Instead, he reaches into his bag and pulls out a small leather notebook, flipping it open to reveal a page of handwritten notes. He doesn't show it to her, but you catch a glimpse of a logo embossed on the cover, a logo that looks oddly familiar, like something you've seen on billboards or travel brochures. "I'm not leaving," Marcus says, his voice now carrying a weight that makes everyone pause. "You're making a mistake. It's not a threat, but a statement, delivered with the kind of certainty that makes your skin prickle." Karen scoffs, but there's a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. Preston, though, isn't having it. He steps closer, towering over Marcus, his voice booming. "You got 5 seconds to walk out, or I'm dragging you out." You're on edge now, your heart pounding. This has gone too far. Marcus is one man standing alone in a room full of people who either don't care or don't dare to intervene. The injustice of it burns, but there's something else too, a feeling that this isn't the whole story. that Marcus Grant isn't just some guy who wandered into the wrong hotel. There's a storm brewing and you can feel it. What happens next? You're not sure, but you know one thing: you're not looking away. You're still in that hotel lobby, the air thick with tension. Marcus Grant stands his ground, his eyes locked on Preston, the security guard who's practically looming over him. The crowd around them has grown a semicircle of curious onlookers, some with phones raised, capturing every moment. Karen behind the counter is dialing her phone, her lips pressed into a thin line. She's calling the police, you realize, and your stomach tightens. This is spiraling and fast. Preston steps even closer to Marcus, his voice low and menacing. You think you can just walk in here and make demands? This ain't your place, man. The words hit like a punch, and you can feel the weight of them, the way they're meant to cut, to belittle. But Marcus doesn't flinch. Instead, he tilts his head slightly, studying Preston like he's a puzzle to be solved. You don't know who you're talking to. Marcus says, his voice calm but laced with something dangerous, not anger but certainty. You notice it again, those little details that don't quite add up. The way Marcus's jacket, though simple, is tailored just a bit too well. The way his duffel bag has a monogram tag, the kind you see on luxury brands. And then there's the phone call he takes. His phone buzzes and he steps back from Preston to answer it, his voice dropping to a whisper. You catch fragments. Yes, I'm here. No, it's being handled. Tell the board to stand by. The board. What board? Your curiosity spikes and you're not alone. A woman in the crowd holding her phone leans closer, trying to hear. Karen, meanwhile, is emboldened by Preston's presence. She slams the phone down and strides out from behind the counter, her heels clicking on the marble floor. You're done here, she says, pointing at Marcus. You're not a guest and you're not welcome. I don't care what email you think you have. Her voice is louder now, performative, like she's playing to the crowd. A few people nod in agreement, but others look uncomfortable, their eyes darting between her and Marcus. Preston grabs Marcus's arm again, this time harder. Let's move, he says, starting to pull. But Marcus doesn't budge. He yanks his arm free with a strength that surprises Preston, and for a moment the guard looks rattled. Marcus's eyes narrow and he says something so quiet you almost miss it. You're going to regret this. It's not loud, not dramatic, but it lands like a thunderclap. The crowd murmurs and you feel it too, that shift, that moment where the power in the room starts to tilt. Karen laughs, a sharp, brittle sound. Regret. You're the one who's going to regret coming in here, causing a scene. She turns to the crowd, raising her voice. This man is trying to scam us. He's pretending he has a reservation, but we know better. Some people in the crowd gasp, others whisper, but Marcus doesn't react. Instead, he pulls out that leather notebook again, flipping to a specific page. He doesn't show it to anyone, but he writes something down. His movements deliberate, almost ceremonial. You catch another glimpse of that embossed logo, and now you're sure you've seen it before, maybe on a travel agency ad or a luxury resort billboard. The police sirens wail in the distance, getting closer. Your heart races. This is it, the moment where things could go terribly wrong. You've seen the headlines, the videos, the stories of black men like Marcus facing situations like this, where a simple misunderstanding turns into something far worse. But Marcus doesn't seem fazed. He slips the notebook back into his bag and pulls out a sleek metallic card, not a credit card, but something else, something official looking. He holds it between two fingers, not showing it to Karen or Preston, but letting it catch the light just enough to draw attention. What's that supposed to be? Preston sneers, but there's a crack in his confidence. Karen, too, hesitates, her eyes flickering to the card. The crowd is buzzing now, and you hear someone whisper, "Is that a badge or something?" Another person mutters, "He doesn't look like a cop." You're not sure what to think, but you're hooked. Who is this guy? Why is he so calm when everything's falling apart around him? The sirens are louder now right outside. Marcus takes a deep breath and steps back. His hands raise slightly, not in surrender, but in control. "You called the police," he says to Karen, his voice steady. "Good. Let's see how this plays out." There's a promise in his words, a weight that makes your skin prickle. Karen smirks thinking she's won, but you can't shake the feeling that she's walking into a trap. Preston, too, looks smug, but there's a bead of sweat on his forehead. The crowd is restless. Phone's still recording, capturing every second of this standoff. You're on the edge of your seat, aren't you? You want to know what happens when those police walk through the door. You want to know what's in that notebook, what that card is. Why Marcus is so unshaken. Something big is coming. Something that's going to turn this whole scene upside down. And you can feel it. Marcus Grant is about to show everyone exactly who he is. The hotel lobby is a powder keg and the police are here. 2 officers step through the glass doors, their radios crackling, their faces stern. The crowd parts, phone still recording as Karen points at Marcus, her voice triumphant. That's him. He's causing a disturbance, refusing to leave. Preston nods, stepping forward to brief the officers, his tone dripping with authority. This guy's been trouble since he walked in. No reservation, no ID, nothing. You're holding your breath, waiting for Marcus to crumble under the pressure, but he doesn't. He stands taller, his eyes moving from Karen to Preston to the officers, calm and unyielding. One of the officers, a grizzled veteran named Officer Daniels, approaches Marcus. Sir, we need to see some ID, he says, his tone neutral but firm. Marcus nods, reaching into his jacket, not for his wallet, but for that sleek metallic card you saw earlier. He hands it to the officer, who frowns as he examines it. The card isn't a driver's license or a credit card, it's something else, something that makes Daniels pause. What's this? Daniels asks, turning the card over. Marcus smiles just slightly and says, call the number on the back. They'll explain. The officer hesitates, then pulls out his phone and dials. The crowd is silent now, all eyes on Daniels as he listens to the voice on the other end. His expression changes, first confusion, then surprise, then something like respect. He hands the card back to Marcus and steps away, speaking quietly into his radio. You can't hear what he's saying, but you see Karen's smirk falter. What's going on? She demands, her voice shrill. Preston, too, looks uneasy, his earlier bravado fading. Marcus doesn't answer her. Instead, he pulls out his phone and makes a call of his own. It's me, he says, his voice low but clear. I'm at the Meridian. Send someone down. He hangs up and the lobby feels like it's holding its breath. Who did he just call? What's about to happen? The answer comes faster than you expect. The elevator doors ding and a woman in a sharp blazer steps out, flanked by 2 men in suits. She's carrying a tablet and her presence commands the room. She walks straight to Marcus, ignoring everyone else. Mr. Grant, she says, her voice professional but warm. We've been expecting you. I'm so sorry for the mix-up. The crowd gasps and you feel it too, the shift, the moment where everything starts to unravel. Karen's face pales. Mr. Grant? She repeats, her voice barely above a whisper. The woman turns to her, her expression cold. Yes, Marcus Grant, CEO of Horizon Travel Group, the parent company of this hotel. The words land like a bombshell. The crowd erupts and murmurs, phones capturing every second. Preston takes a step back, his hands dropping to his sides. Karen's mouth opens, but no words come out. Marcus, still calm, turns to the officers. I tried to check in, he says, his voice steady. I showed them my confirmation, but they refused to listen. They assumed I didn't belong here. He doesn't raise his voice, doesn't gloat, but every word carries weight. Officer Daniels nods, his jaw tight. We'll handle this, sir, he says, turning to Karen and Preston. You two step over here. The power has shifted, and you can feel it. Karen's confidence is gone, replaced by panic. She stammers, I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? But her excuses sound hollow and the crowd isn't buying it. Preston, too, is silent. His earlier aggression replaced by a nervous shuffle. The woman in the blazer, who introduces herself as Marcus's assistant, pulls up something on her tablet and shows it to the officers. It's a corporate directory with Marcus's name and title in bold. Marcus Grant, Chief Executive Officer. You're grinning now, aren't you? That feeling of justice starting to take shape, of the truth breaking through. Marcus isn't just a guest, he owns this place and every hotel in the Horizon chain. The logo you saw in his notebook on those billboards, it all makes sense now. He's not just a man who walked into the wrong hotel, He's the man who built the empire they're standing in. But it's not over yet. Marcus turns to the crowd, his voice calm but resonant. This isn't about me, he says. This is about what happens when you judge someone before you know them, when you let bias make your decisions. The words hit hard and you see heads nodding, some people lowering their phones, convicted by what they've witnessed. Karen and Preston are led to a corner by the officers, their faces a mix of shame and fear. The assistant hands Marcus a keycard, the penthouse suite you overhear. He thanks her, then turns back to the crowd. I came here to work, he says. But I hope this is a lesson for everyone watching. He doesn't need to say more. The truth is out, and the consequences are coming. You can feel it, the hammer's about to fall, and Karen and Preston are about to face the price of their actions. The lobby is still buzzing, but the energy has changed. Marcus Grant, now revealed as the CEO of Horizon Travel Group, stands at the center of it all, his presence commanding yet restrained. The police officers are speaking to Karen and Preston in a corner, their voices low but firm. The crowd is quieter now, some still filming, others whispering about what they've just witnessed. You're still reeling from the revelation, but you know this isn't the end. There's a reckoning coming, and it's going to be satisfying. Marcus's assistant, Ms. Carter, steps forward with her tablet, her expression all business. She turns to the officers and hands them a printed document. This is the reservation confirmation for Mr. Grant, she says, her voice clear. And this is the employee handbook for Horizon Properties, which explicitly prohibits discrimination of any kind. She glances at Karen, who's visibly trembling now, her earlier bravado gone. Preston, too, looks like he's shrinking his shoulders, hunched, his eyes fixed on the floor. Officer Daniels skims the documents, then looks at Karen. You saw this man's confirmation and still refused him service. He asks, his tone sharp. Karen stammers, I thought it was fake. We get people trying to scam us all the time. But her excuse falls flat. The crowd murmurs and you hear someone mutter, she didn't even look at it. Daniels shakes his head, turning to Marcus. Mr. Grant, do you want to press charges? Marcus takes a moment, his eyes moving from Karen to Preston to the crowd. No, he says finally, his voice steady. I don't want charges, I want accountability. The words hang in the air, heavy with meaning. He turns to Ms. Carter. Pull their employee files. They're done here. The crowd gasps and you feel a surge of satisfaction. Karen's eyes widen and she steps forward, pleading, Please, Mr. Grant, I didn't know I have a family. Preston, too, finds his voice mumbling. It was a mistake, man. I was just doing my job. But Marcus isn't swayed. Your job, he says, his voice low but cutting, was to treat every guest with respect. You chose to judge me before you knew me. That's not a mistake, it's a decision. The words land like a verdict, and you can see the weight of them settle over Karen and Preston. The officers nod, taking notes as Ms. Carter taps on her tablet, already sending emails to HR. The crowd is eating this up, and so are you. There's something deeply satisfying about watching justice unfold, not through violence or revenge, but through truth and consequence. Marcus doesn't need to raise his voice or throw punches. He's already won, not just for himself, but for everyone who's ever been judged, unfairly dismissed, or pushed aside. Ms. Carter steps forward again, addressing the crowd. Horizon Travel Group will be conducting a full review of this incident, she says. We're committed to ensuring this doesn't happen again. She hands Marcus the keycard to the penthouse suite, and he takes it with a nod. But before he leaves, he turns to the crowd one last time. This isn't about one hotel or one moment, he says. It's about how we treat each other. Every day we have a choice to see people for who they are, not what we assume they are. Choose better. His words linger, a call to action that hits you right in the chest. The crowd is quiet now, some nodding. Others looking down, reflecting on their own biases. Karen and Preston are escorted out by the officers, not in cuffs, but with their heads bowed, their careers in tatters. You watch them go and it feels right. Not cruel, not vengeful, but right. As Marcus heads to the elevator, the crowd parts for him, some clapping softly, others whispering words of support. He doesn't bask in it. He's not here for applause. He's here to do his job, to lead an empire, to make a difference. The elevator doors close and the screen fades to black, but the voiceover kicks in warm and resonant, tying it all together. Today, you saw a man judged for the color of his skin, dismissed for what he wore, underestimated for who he was. But you also saw the truth win out. Marcus Grant didn't just walk into that hotel, he owned it. And he reminded us all that justice isn't about revenge, it's about accountability. It's about seeing people really seeing them before you decide who they are. So the next time you're quick to judge, remember this: you never know who's standing in front of you. Choose better. Be better. The screen fades out, leaving you with that final thought, a call to reflect, to grow, to change. It's not just a story, it's a wake-up call.